Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah. So I started making videos on TikTok, but the most you can do, or you can record, is 3 minutes, which is quite frustrating because people's stories take a lot longer than 3 minutes if you want to do them properly. So I wanted to talk about my journey to Islam, in the hope that 1, 2, 3, maybe more people can watch this and it can maybe answer some of their own questions, maybe form some sort of inspiration, increase knowledge and understanding for other people. Because we all spend a certain amount of time on the planet, and now we have social media and all of this ability to save records of our lives for other people to benefit from. I figured that for that reason, and in the hope of sharing knowledge, and even my kids later on, my grandkids or something, can come back and look on my YouTube channel and ask themselves, who was this guy? My father or my grandfather or whatever, inshallah. So Bismillah. I was born in Plymouth, 1975. I'm 45 now. We grew up in various parts of the UK. We moved around quite a bit, and most of my life I grew up in a town in southeast England called Biggin Hill. Went to a school called Charles Darwin School. It was called Charles Darwin School because Charles Darwin himself had a house called Down House, and Down, spelt D-O-W-N-E, is just down the road from Biggin Hill. So the school was named after Charles Darwin. I didn't honestly realise the significance of that the whole time I was at Charles Darwin School, but never mind, that's a different story. And I have a lot of opinions on Darwinism, neo-Darwinistic evolution, and intelligent design. That's another set of videos which I'll endeavour to make, inshallah. So while I was growing up there in Biggin Hill and the other places, I had no real exposure to Islam or Muslims at all. We would very rarely see another non-white face in Biggin Hill, unfortunately. And that, reflecting on it, that had an impact on me. I didn't realise the impact it had on me until I actually went to University of Greenwich. And I made a lot of friends. I had friends who were from India, Sikhs. I had friends who were from, they were black British people. I had friends from all sorts of different parts of Africa. Like, I remember seeing some of the students in the university from Somalia, and they had really short trousers on. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, these poor guys, they can't afford trousers. They've been wearing the same trousers for so many years that their trousers have become short. Now obviously, I understand why their trousers are short. But, excuse me. But back then I didn't understand why. But you see what I mean? You get exposed to different types of people. They have different habits. Some of those are down to the individuality, the individualistic differences. What would you call them? I can't think of the word now. No, I can't think of the word. The word that means like idiosyncrasies, the idiosyncratic differences between people. And then you have the kind of cultural differences. So the idiosyncratic differences were not really of that much interest to me. They are now, because I'm quite interested in psychology, but before not. I was looking at cultural differences. I always found that quite fascinating, and like my friend who was a Sikh, I used to talk to him and understand. I had another friend, Raphael. I lost touch with him, unfortunately, but he was a Jehovah's Witness. We used to talk about that. I grew up in, my mother's a Roman Catholic. She always took me to church on Sunday. So that's what I knew as religion. That's what I understood that was my exposure to God and so on and so forth. But saying that, I remember very distinctly these times in my life, one of them in particular, which kind of had and it's something that just happened to me. Wasn't anybody else was there. I was in a sweet shop. I don't know these days if they still exist over here in Kuwait. You know, you don't see it too much, but we used to have these shops that just used to sell toys and sweets. And there was one in Biggin Hill called Biggin Hill Toy Shops originally, Biggin Hill Toy Shop. And I was in there, and they had like 1 penny. We used to call them 1 penny sweets. It would just cost 1 pence for a sweet. And I remember taking a conscious decision not, I wanted a sweet, and I thought, why shouldn't I just take one? It's only 1 penny. The shop owner won't care. But I remember thinking to myself, something I guess you could call God consciousness. I was thinking to myself, no, but God is watching me. If I take this sweet, I'll be held accountable for it. And that concept of God in my mind was always of an entity above, in heaven, if you like, whatever you want to call it. I had this concept in my mind of a creator, a sustainer, someone who's taking care of the affairs and watching over the affairs of mankind, and me individually and everyone else above us. I used to go to church, and obviously you have a lot of, and please don't get me wrong, I'm very respectful towards all of the religions, other religions. My mother is, as I said, a Roman Catholic, and she still is. And, my father is, I guess, kind of irreligious. From my discussions with him, he believes in a power, but doesn't tend to attach a religion to it, because he believes that religions cause issues. That's his perspective on this. So anyway, I had this concept, and I remember I used to pray in bed at night, because strange enough, my father, who wasn't religious particularly, used to teach me the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, and that the Lord's Prayer, and I used to say that every night. And in my head, I had a concept of our Father who art in heaven, like a God in heaven. So that's what I grew up with. Even though going to church, you'd hear about Virgin Mary, you'd hear about Jesus, and the dogma from the Catholic Church associated with that. Every now and then I'd go to a Church of England service and things like that, but the idea of the Trinitarian concept never really penetrated me, and I didn't really think too much about it, to be honest with you. I just used to, church was a thing we did on Sundays, and the rest of the time. As I grew up, I kind of became more and more distant, and I realised that my going to church was only really to be with my mother. It's something I did with Mum, and I love her very much, and I love her very much, and I didn't want her to be sad that I didn't go with her. And I also wanted to do something with her. I loved, I always loved to be with my mother. She's a lovely lady, and my father as well, of course, Dad, if you're watching this, love you both. And so it wasn't until I think I was in my 20s, and I remember one Christmas I was still intoxicated from the night before, subhanallah, and I went to church with my mum, and I remember feeling back then, hang on, this isn't right. I've been out partying, and I'm still kind of drunk, and I'm sitting in the church here feeling ill. So something clicked in me then, to say, this isn't right. So I think I took a conscious decision at that point to stop going to church. Yeah. Anyway, so that was kind of the background of me and growing up, and the religion I had growing up. So I think I'll call it a day there and continue in another video. I hope this is something, interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. And hopefully we'll record another video soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.